People inside the highway diner had no idea their morning was about to turn into a nightmare. They walked in and out with coffee cups and sleepy faces, unaware that a single terrified child was trying to send a message no one could see. But one man saw everything. Silas Reaper Johnson sat alone at a corner table, hands wrapped around a black mug of coffee. His leather vest carried the Hell Angel patch, bold and heavy on his back. The scar on his cheek caught the light every time he looked up. Most people avoided him, and that was normal. Mothers pulled their kids closer. Travelers stepped around him. He was used to it. Yet Silas felt something wrong in the room the moment it happened. A stillness. A tension like a thin wire pulled tight. His instincts sharpened. The same instincts that had kept him alive in battles far worse than this quiet diner. He lifted his eyes and scanned the scene. Truckers, tourists, families. Nothing strange. Then he saw her. A little girl sat in a booth by the window. She wore a red hoodie. Her small hands rested on the table. Her eyes were wide and alert, in a way no child's eyes should ever be. Two adults sat with her. A thick man in a wrinkled suit. A woman who kept checking her phone and biting her lip. The girl's shoulders were stiff, her breathing shallow. She never touched the food in front of her. Silas watched quietly. Something about the way she held herself was wrong. Too still, too controlled, like she was afraid to move. Then her right hand shifted, slow, careful, almost invisible. Her fingers made tiny shapes against the table. Silas froze. He knew those movements. He knew them better than most people. He had learned American Sign Language years ago while helping veterans at the hospital. The girl's movements were subtle, but the meaning was clear. Help. Her fingers moved again. Danger. Her eyes flicked upward and met Silas's from across the room. For one long second, the noise of the diner faded. It was only the biker and the child. Her eyes begged him to understand, to act, to save her. Not my parents. The words hit him like a punch. He sat completely still, but his heart tightened. No one else noticed the girl's silent plea. People walked past her. People laughed. People scrolled on their phones. She was invisible to everyone except him. Silas lowered his mug. His mind sharpened into focus. The man in the booth leaned forward and grabbed the girl's arm. Not hard enough to bruise her, but hard enough to make her flinch. The woman whispered sharply. The girl looked down, frightened, hands folding into her sleeves as if to hide the truth she had revealed. Silas rose from his seat calmly, but inside him something heavy and dangerous began to move. The protective force he controlled so carefully stirred awake. As he walked toward the counter, he placed himself closer to the booth, close enough to hear. The man muttered, 3 hours, then we hand her over. The woman hissed back, she keeps trying to get attention. Buyer wants her awake, stop worrying. Silas felt heat rise in his chest. His jaw tightened. He did not look directly at them. He did not react yet. He simply ordered another coffee and pretended to wait, but he was no longer waiting. He had heard enough to know the girl was in real danger, in the kind of danger that destroys lives. He had seen enough to know she was trying to be brave. Brave enough to trust a stranger who looked like a threat to everyone else. Silas stepped away from the counter and reached into his vest. He pulled out his phone and typed a short message to his club. His brothers. The only people he trusted with something this serious. Code red. Child in danger. Riverside diner. Silent approach. No mistakes. He sent it. He knew they would come. They always did. Silas returned to his table. From there, he watched the booth like a soldier marking a target. The girl glanced at him again, her eyes filled with fear and hope at the same time. Her fingers moved once more, leaving soon. Help now. Silas gave her the smallest nod. No one else saw it, but she did. The tiny tremble in her breath calmed. He reached for his coffee again, even though he no longer tasted it. His heartbeat was steady. his mind clear. He knew exactly what needed to happen next. The girl was not alone anymore. Outside, far in the distance, he heard the faint rumble of motorcycle engines. Not loud yet, but approaching. His brothers were coming. Silas lifted his head slowly. His eyes locked on the man dragging his captive closer. The man did not know it yet, but he had just run out of time. The moment the little girl was pulled from the booth, the entire diner seemed to freeze. Conversation stopped. Forks hovered in midair. The soft hum of the soda machine sounded suddenly loud. Every eye watched the man drag her toward the exit, but Silas stepped into their path. He did not raise his voice. He did not make a scene. He simply blocked the door with his body, a massive shadow of calm strength. The man stared up at him. "Move. Now." Silas looked down at the girl's wrist, the red skin, the trembling fingers, the fear in her eyes. "She looks hurt," Silas said. His tone was gentle. His words were simple, but they carried authority. The kind of authority that came from years of facing danger without flinching. "We need to go," the man growled. "She needs help," Silas replied. "Let her go." The woman stepped around the man, trying to shield the girl with her body. "She is fine. She is our daughter. This is none of your business." Silas kept his gaze steady. "Then why has she been signing for help?" Both adults froze. Their eyes snapped to the girl. Panic flickered across their faces. They had not realized she had been communicating. Sophie pressed her lips together, fear rising again. Silas spoke softly. "She told me she is in danger. She told me you are not her parents." The man's jaw twitched. His hand moved toward his waistband. Silas saw it. He shifted his stance, but before the man touched anything, the sound arrived. Motorcycles. 8 engines rolled into the parking lot. Slow, heavy, controlled. The glass windows vibrated slightly from the low rumble. The sound turned heads throughout the diner. A woman whispered, "Are those bikers?" Another voice echoed, "Hell Angels." The man gripping the girl stiffened. His eyes darted to the parking lot and back to Silas. His breathing changed, quick, shallow, nervous. Outside, the bikes lined up. One by one, the riders stepped off. Boots hit the ground. Leather vests caught the sun. Their faces were calm, focused, and unafraid. Silas kept his eyes on the man. "You will not walk out with her." Tank, the largest of the arriving riders, opened the door and stepped inside. He filled the entrance like a wall of muscle and metal. He scanned the room quickly, locked eyes with Silas, and understood everything without a single word. The man snapped, "Stay back. She comes with us." Tank took a slow step forward. "Not today." The woman tried to slip toward the restrooms. She tried to avoid the bikers and the stares of the diners, but another Hell Angel stepped into her path. Raven. Broad shoulders, hard voice, steel eyes. "Sit down," she said. "Now." Fear cracked the woman's composure. She backed up toward the booth, shaking. The girl made a small motion. Her fingers curled inward, a silent plea. Silas crouched to her level. "I saw you," he said. "I heard you." Her eyes filled, but she did not cry. She nodded slowly, trusting him. Behind them, customers quietly moved out of the way. Some filmed, unsure of what was happening. Some whispered prayers. Others stared with wide eyes, realizing the danger in front of them. Tank stepped closer to the man. "Hands where I can see them." The man hesitated. Silas's voice dropped. "Do it." Something in his tone broke the man's resistance. He slowly raised his hands, but his eyes were wild, angry, unpredictable. Raven secured the woman. Tank grabbed the man's wrists. The girl ran into Silas's arms just as the man tried to jerk away. He failed. 3 riders pinned him before he could make another move. The entire diner watched in stunned silence. Silas kept one hand on Sophie's shoulder. "You are safe," he said. "We are here now." She closed her eyes and breathed out slowly, clinging to the certainty in his voice. Then the front doors opened again. A young mother rushed forward, holding a phone. "I called the police," she said. "They are almost here." Silas nodded. "Good. Stay with us." The man trapped on the floor spat out words. "You idiots have no idea who you are dealing with." Tank leaned down. "Neither do you." Outside, the growing roar of sirens began to echo across the highway. Sophie looked at Silas, tears rising again. "What happens now?" she whispered. Silas glanced at the door as the first police car pulled up. "Now," he said quietly, "everything changes." The diner fell into a tense silence the moment the police lights flashed across the windows. Everyone inside knew something serious was happening, but no one understood how deep the danger went. Only Sophie and Silas knew the truth, and even that truth was only beginning to unfold. 2 state troopers entered first. Their boots hit the floor with sharp steps. A woman in plain clothes followed them. Her badge hung from her belt. Her eyes scanned the room with calm precision. She spoke clearly. "Special Agent Chen, FBI." The entire diner went still. Agent Chen focused on Silas first. She took in his vest, his size, his calm stance, and the trembling child holding on to his side. "Who spotted the child's signal?" she asked. Silas raised one hand. "I did." Chen walked toward him, her expression unreadable. "Tell me everything, from the start." Silas explained in short, steady sentences. He described the girl signing for help, the words she spelled, the way the adults acted, the phrases he overheard, the fear in the child's eyes. Chen never interrupted him. Her face grew harder with every detail. When he finished, she turned to the girl and crouched down so she was at eye level. "My name is May," she said softly. "I am here to help you. You are safe now. Can you tell me your name?" Sophie leaned closer to Silas first, as if asking for permission. He nodded gently. She looked back at Chen. "My name is Sophie," she whispered. "Sophie Martinez." Chen placed a steady hand on the table near Sophie, giving her space but showing she was present. "Are these people your parents?" Sophie shook her head. "Did they take you from somewhere?" She nodded. "Where, Sophie?" Her small voice shook. "The park. By the swings. They said they needed help. They said they would bring me home. But they lied." The woman who had been pretending to be Sophie's mother tried to speak. "She is confused. She is scared. She does not know what she is saying." Chen stood slowly and turned toward her. "Sit down, and do not speak again." The woman obeyed instantly. Chen knelt once more. "Sophie, do you know why they took you?" Sophie's breath trembled. "They said someone bought me." The police officers stiffened. The room felt colder. Chen's voice stayed gentle. "Is there anyone else they took?" Sophie hesitated. Then she nodded again. "My little brother, Miguel. He is 5. Silas felt his chest tighten. Chen's tone sharpened with urgency. "Where is Miguel now?" "In a white van," Sophie said, "with a blue stripe. They said they were taking him to a place where no one would find him." A ripple moved through the room. Fear, anger, disbelief. Silas placed a hand on Sophie's shoulder. "We will find him," he said. His voice was steady. His promise felt like a shield. Chen rose to her feet and motioned to the troopers. "Put out an alert. White van, blue stripe, immediate search." Officers moved at once. Radios crackled. Orders flew across the room. Tank stepped beside Silas. "We can help search," he said quietly. Chen glanced at the biker crew outside. Their bikes, their coordination, their focus. "You stay here with the girl," she said. "We need stability around her. We will bring more units." She paused. "But I will remember your offer." The woman criminal stood suddenly, voice cracking. You do not understand. If you find the van, they will know we talked. They will kill us. Tank turned toward her. You should have thought of that before you took a child. The man in custody tried to pull away again. You will never find the boy. Chen faced him, her expression cold and controlled. We have his sister. We have your vehicle. We have surveillance cameras. We will find him. The man smirked. Not in time. Silas stepped forward. Try one more word. Tank held him back with a hand on his shoulder. Not now. Brother. Agent Chen signaled for the suspects to be escorted outside. As the officers pushed them toward the door, Sophie clung to Silas again. Do not let them take me, she whispered. You are staying with us, Silas said. No one will touch you. The girl held on tighter, trembling. Outside, more sirens approached. More units, more flashing lights, more urgency. Inside, the tension stayed thick. The bikers watched the windows. The diners whispered among themselves. The room felt suspended between fear and action. Then a voice came through a police radio near the counter. We may have a sighting. White van heading east on the service road. Agent Chen's eyes flashed. She looked back at Silas. This is real, she said. This is bigger than we thought. Silas nodded. Sophie tugged his sleeve again. Will they save Miguel? He looked at her with total certainty. Yes, he said, but this is only the beginning. As the officers ran out to their vehicles, the last thing Sophie signed was a single word. Hurry. The lights of the patrol cars faded as they sped down the highway. And inside the diner, Silas felt the weight of what was coming settle into his bones. This was no longer just a rescue. It was a race against time. The diner felt too quiet after the police cars sped away. It was the kind of silence that comes after a storm, when everyone waits to see what happens next. But for Sophie, that silence was unbearable. Her little hands clutched the stuffed dog Tank gave her, and her eyes never left the window. Every minute without Miguel felt like a lifetime. Silas stayed beside her. His shadow covered half the table, but his presence brought her calm. Across the room, the Hell Angels stood in a protective circle. They watched every door, every window, every person who walked by. No one was getting anywhere near Sophie again. Agent Chen walked back in with a tablet in hand. Her face was drawn, focused, and urgent. We found the service road where the van turned, she said, but it splits into 3 directions. We need more information. Sophie looked up quickly. Can they find him before they move him? Chen crouched beside her. We are moving fast, but we need to know everything you remember. Sophie pulled in a shaky breath. The man who drove the van had a radio. They said they were almost at the place, the one with the metal door. They said the lights inside were always on. Chen typed quickly. That helps. There are warehouses near the interstate. Most of them have steel doors. Tank stepped forward. We know those roads better than anyone. He looked at Silas. We can ride out there. We can cover ground faster. Chen hesitated. I cannot authorize civilians to join an active search. You are not authorizing anything, Tank replied calmly. We are offering eyes on the road, that is all. Silas added, the kid needs every chance. Chen studied the bikers, their size, their unity, their discipline. They looked like trouble, but the kind of trouble that ran straight into danger for someone who needed help. She nodded once. Fine. But stay on the radio. Do not enter any building. If you see something, report immediately. Tank gave a short grin. Yes, ma'am. The bikers moved out. Their boots hit the floor like a march. The moment they stepped outside, engines roared to life again. Dust rose behind the bikes as they shot toward the highway. Inside the diner, Sophie pressed her face against the glass, watching them disappear. Will they find him? She whispered. Silas knelt beside her. They will do everything possible. You started this. You gave the signal. You gave us the chance to save him. Her fingers moved slowly. I want my brother. I know, Silas said softly. We will bring him back. The next hour crawled by. Police updates came through in short bursts. Bikers checked in every few minutes. Officers searched cameras, old buildings, and abandoned roads. The atmosphere in the diner was tight with worry. Agent Chen studied a map spread across a table. There is one building that bothers me, she said. Old warehouse by the freight lane, no business registered, no clear owner. Silas stepped closer. That sounds like the place. A trooper rushed inside with a radio. We have movement. Biker units reported a white van parked behind that warehouse. Chen's head snapped up. Any signs of children? Not yet, but the building shows heat signatures. 3 adults inside, possibly more. Sophie stood from her chair. Is Miguel there? Chen exhaled. Most likely. Sophie began to cry softly. Please do not let them hurt him. Silas put a steady hand on her shoulder. They will reach him. Chen gathered her team. We go now. Everyone moves. As officers rushed back outside, Silas turned to Agent Chen. I am coming with you. She shook her head. This is a law enforcement scene. Sophie gripped Silas's vest. Please, she pleaded. I want him. Chen hesitated. Silas looked right into her eyes. You know we can help. She considered it for a moment. Then she nodded. You ride behind us. Stay outside until we clear the location. Silas squeezed Sophie's hand gently. We will find him. I promise. He stood, adjusted his vest, and headed for the door. The girl looked at him like he was the only steady thing in her world. Outside, the convoy formed. Police cars, FBI vehicles, and right behind them, the Hell Angels. The engines roared together. Silas mounted his bike. His expression was calm, but the storm inside him was ready. He started his engine and looked up at the fading sun. This was no longer a search. This was a rescue. As they pulled onto the road, Sophie pressed her forehead to the diner window, whispering the one word that carried her hope. Hurry! The bikes and police lights vanished down the highway, racing toward the warehouse where a frightened little boy waited in the dark. And deep inside that building, someone slammed a metal door shut. The warehouse looked dead from the outside, but everyone in the convoy felt the danger rising like heat from the ground. Police cars formed a barrier across the dirt road. FBI vehicles blocked the back. The Hell Angels lined their bikes behind them, engines silent now, but ready for anything. Silas stepped off his bike and looked at the metal building. The sun was sinking, turning the sky orange. Shadows stretched across the cracked concrete. A cold wind moved through the trees, making the moment feel heavier. Agent Chen approached him. Thermal scan picked up movement. 3 adults, 1 child-sized figure. Miguel, Silas said. Chen nodded. But we have a problem. The doors are reinforced. We need to breach from the side. There is only one safe point. We cannot risk the child. Tank walked up beside them, jaw tight. We can draw them out. Chen raised a hand. No. No one moves in unless we clear the inside. Silas studied the building. There were no windows, just metal walls, rusted panels, a single ventilation shaft high above the door, a place built for hiding or trapping. Silas turned to Chen. They will run when they hear you breach. They will try to move the child. Chen hesitated. We work fast. Silas looked at Tank. Position the boys around the sides. Keep the exits covered. Tank nodded and signaled the riders. They split into pairs, taking positions behind broken stacks of lumber and old machinery. They did not aim weapons. They simply watched, waiting for movement. Chen spoke into her radio. Teams in position, on my count. The troopers formed a tight entry line, shields up, weapons held steady. The air felt thick, as if the entire world was waiting to exhale. Inside the building, they heard something faint. A muffled cry, the sound of metal dragging. Miguel. Chen whispered into her mic. Go. The breach team moved. A loud burst hit the lock. The metal door jerked open. Officers flooded in with sharp commands. The echo of footsteps filled the warehouse. Silas stayed outside as ordered. But every nerve in his body pushed him forward. He fought it. He stayed by the door. He listened to every sound. A shout came from inside. Child located. He is alive. Silas closed his eyes for a moment. Relief washed through him, but only for a second. Another voice shouted, Suspect running. Northeast side. Tank's voice came over the radio. We see movement, Chen signaled. Contain him. Do not engage unless necessary. A figure burst out from behind the building. He ran toward the tree line with frantic speed. He held a radio in one hand and something else in the other. Tank stepped in front of him. Stop! The man did not stop. He lunged. Tank blocked the hit and grabbed him by the jacket, twisting him toward the ground. The man tried to spit out words. You do not understand. They sent others. They will come back for the boy. They will come back for her. Chen moved in. Who? The man shook his head violently. They do not forgive mistakes. Chen snapped cuffs on him. You made a mistake when you took those children. The man looked up at Silas. You think this ends here? You have no idea. Silas stared back. It ends for the children. Chen pulled the man to his feet and handed him to the troopers. Take him in. Silas turned to Tank. Where is Miguel? A trooper came out of the warehouse carrying a small boy wrapped in a blanket. Miguel looked pale, exhausted, and scared. His eyes moved frantically until they landed on Silas. A spark of recognition lit in them. You are the biker, Miguel whispered, the one Sophie talked about. Silas knelt in front of him. Are you hurt? Miguel shook his head. I just want my sister. You will see her soon. The boy leaned into him, trusting him without hesitation. Chen joined them. We will bring him straight to the station. His parents are already there. Silas nodded. I will follow. Tank put a hand on Silas's shoulder. We did good work today. Silas looked at the warehouse. Not finished yet. Chen turned toward him. What do you mean? Silas pointed to the back exit. There should have been 3 suspects. You caught 2. Chen's eyes narrowed. You are right. Tank scanned the dark corners. Someone is missing. The warehouse door creaked behind them. A cold wind swept through the opening. The shadows inside seemed to shift. Chen reached for her radio. All units, be alert. We have 1 suspect unaccounted for. Miguel's voice trembled. He said someone was coming back, someone worse. Silas stood slowly. We need to move now. Chen nodded. Everyone returned to vehicles. We head back to protect the girl. Tank looked at Silas. Because if that missing suspect knows what happened... Silas finished the sentence himself. He will go after Sophie. The ride back to the station felt heavier than the ride out. The danger was not gone. It had only changed shape. The missing suspect could be anywhere. And if he knew what happened at the warehouse, there was only one person he would try to reach. Sophie. Silas pushed his bike faster. His vest snapped in the wind. The road blurred beneath him. The Hell Angels followed like a silent shield, their headlights forming a line of fire behind him. When they reached the station, Agent Chen rushed out. Her voice was sharp. She is inside. She is safe, but we need eyes everywhere. Sophie was in a small interview room holding a cup of warm cocoa. She looked up the moment Silas entered. You found him, she whispered. Silas knelt beside her. He is safe. He is coming here right now. Her eyes filled with relief. Thank you. I knew you would save him. He brushed a strand of hair from her face. You were brave. You helped us all. Tank entered with 2 officers. We need to secure the building. The missing suspect could already be on the move. Chen nodded. We have patrols outside, but we need more than that. Silas stood. We stay with her. For the next 20 minutes, the station buzzed with tension. Officers watched the doors. The bikers watched the shadows. Sophie sat between Silas and Raven, holding both their hands. Then someone rushed in. The parents just arrived. They are being escorted in now. Sophie stood up. My mom, my dad, they are here. Silas opened the door for her. She ran down the hallway as her mother and father came through the entrance. They dropped to their knees and pulled her into their arms. The hallway filled with soft cries, trembling voices, and relief so strong it felt like warmth spreading through the air. Silas stepped back to give them space. Tank placed a hand on his shoulder. You did good, Tank said. Real good. But Silas did not relax. Something unsettled him. The missing suspect had not shown up. There had been no call, no sighting, no sign at all. He scanned the hallway. Where is Miguel? His parents turned. He is being brought in. The car is pulling in behind us. Chen checked her radio. They are almost here. Everyone moved to the lobby. Officers spread out. The bikers stood near the walls. The tension grew again. A patrol SUV pulled in. The headlights washed across the glass. The back door opened. Miguel stepped out holding a blanket. Sophie ran to him. Miguel. They hugged tight. Their parents held both of them close. It was the moment everyone had been waiting for. But something in Silas's chest tightened. The officer leading Miguel was not the officer who had carried him out earlier. The officer kept his head low. His steps were too fast, his shoulders too stiff. Silas felt the warning before he understood it. Tank saw it too. That is not right, Silas shouted. Stop him now! The man jerked his head up. His eyes were cold. Wrong. He tightened his grip on Miguel and pulled a small blade from inside his sleeve. Back away, he said. The entire station froze. Sophie let out a sharp gasp and clutched her father. Miguel stared at the blade with wide eyes. Chen raised her hands slowly. You do not want to do this. The man pressed the blade closer. You took everything from us. You think this ends here? Silas stepped forward. Let the boy go. Do not move, the man warned. Silas kept walking, each step slow, controlled, like approaching a wild animal. You will not hurt him, Silas said. You know you will not make it out that door. The man's breathing turned ragged. You ruined our operation. You destroyed everything. Silas kept his voice low. The children are safe. It is over. The man's eyes twitched. No, not until one of you pays. He pressed the blade closer. Miguel whimpered. Sophie cried out, Please, do not hurt him. Silas took one final step forward. Take me instead. The entire room tensed. The man blinked. What? Let the boy go, Silas said. I am the one you are after, not him. The man hesitated. His grip on Miguel shifted, just slightly, but enough. Tank moved first. He lunged from the side, grabbing the man's wrist. The blade dropped. Another biker pulled Miguel away. Chen and two officers tackled the suspect to the ground. Miguel ran straight to Sophie. They held each other, shaking but safe. Silas exhaled slowly. It is over. Chen cuffed the man and stood up. You saved him, she said. You saved them both. The parents hugged their children again, the room filled with grateful voices and tears of relief. Sophie looked at Silas with wet eyes. You saved us twice. Silas shook his head. You saved yourself. You asked for help. You made the world listen. Her father approached him. We owe you everything. Silas nodded. Take care of them. That is all I want. Later that evening, after statements were given and the family was escorted home, Sophie ran back to Silas before leaving. She signed one word. Hero. Silas swallowed, knelt down, and signed back. Hope. Because that was what Sophie had been from the start. A small signal in the dark that refused to be ignored. The bikers walked out together. The night air was cool, the stars were bright above them, engines rumbled to life. Tank looked at Silas. What now? Silas glanced back at the station. Now we ride home, and tomorrow we start again. Tank smiled. Start what? Silas looked at the road stretching into the night. Paying attention. The bikes pulled away, engines echoing like thunder across the quiet streets. Behind them, the lights of the station glowed softly, holding the family that would never forget what happened. And somewhere in the world, another child waited for someone to notice the smallest signal. Silas knew one truth. He always would.